What's going on? It's BubbaMischief here, and we are starting episode 3 of Solo Leveling. Be sure to check out my previous episodes. This is where I believe the anime would truly begin, because all of the Karthanon Temple from episodes 1 and 2 was just the intro to the anime. We're not going to get as brutal as last episode, but we're going to get a little look into that UI system that we saw that called him a player. Right about here, the manga slowed down for a little bit before it picked up again, so I'm curious to see just how far this episode will take us to get us through that kind of slower bit, to get us more into the action. Last time we saw our MC, he lost an arm, a leg, and probably around 90% of his blood, so let's check in on him and get started with episode 3, It's Like a Game. If you enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe. That's seriously so much blood. Oh my god, all the bodies just thrown about everywhere. She give me one last chance to make it right. She has severe PTSD. I mean, who wouldn't have PTSD over that? It'd be a terrifying experience that you definitely would not want to go through again. It's a dangerous job, but there's not normally that level of a massacre, is because they'll probably show that they measure gates to determine how strong they are. That's how they give the gate a ranking, so that they know to put the right level of hunters in the gates to deal with it. It's like, oh, it's a D level gate, so we probably want like 1 or 2 C's at least, and then D's are like good. You want a few to be above the rank if possible, but obviously if it's like an S rank like gate, you're not gonna have an above S rank person, although we'll see about that. But they measure the gate and send in the right corresponding people. So for the beginning of that dungeon, because they ended up calling it a double dungeon, the beginning of it was D rank. So it was the proper rank for everyone to fight, which showed because they all got through it with minor injuries. I mean, the only person who probably got injured was our main character. But that second part of the dungeon, Mr. Song even said, he's like, that's an A or an S rank monster right there. All these statues are A or S rank. We are fucked. So that's why you don't see the massacres happening, because usually you kind of know what you're getting into when you're going into the gate. But that caught them entirely off guard because it's a rare occurrence, a double dungeon. It has happened before, but I don't think the level difference between the first part and the second part was that extreme before. So even though there was a double dungeon, people were okay with it. Dude, that purple hair guy looks so fucking out of it and bored. Oh, it just zoomed in the moment I said that. Yeah, definitely somebody sitting at the bottom of E rank would very much be excited at the prospect of raising their rank for once. I don't think they mentioned that in the manga. They think that he became an A or an S rank and just slaughtered the rest of the dungeon to leave no traces behind. Well, I'm like, even if he killed the statues, you would be in a temple. It's not like he just carved the entire temple down to a cave. So that's a bit of a, they're just trying to make sense of a unexplainable situation. With a score of 10, that goes to show just how weak he is. 10 power when an average E rank has 70. He's like, to be fair, this time other people got hurt. People lost limbs, a lot of people died. It was not me. Okay, so they called it strength training, but in the manga it was preparing to become strong. So it's like, this one is like, we're gonna get strong right now. When in the manga is like, you're so weak, you have to prepare yourself to then become strong because you're not getting strength right now. And another thing was that the guys came in and they told them about Mr. Song and about the girl and how they're doing. And they went in the manga to tell him about the guy who just starts crying, says, I want a family. He was on my thumbnail last video, that guy. And before they even got to mention what happened to him, RMC was just like, no, I don't care. Like, it's like, you betrayed me. I don't care how you're doing. The only 2 people I cared about was the people that made it out with me, and I figured out how they're doing, so they're good. Push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and running. Dude, they're gonna make this man into Saitama. Oh, the penalty. Y'all ain't ready for the penalty. I mean, if she's a little too high of rank to claim that anyone who watches her will just learn. Like, that is true if you take like a C rank hunter and have them watch a B or an A rank, maybe they'll learn something. But I'm pretty sure she's S rank and she'll be putting into a dungeon with like C ranks. They're not gonna learn anything because S ranks are just the levels of extreme of strength that, and she has one. I can't wait to see how they animate this. She has a very different fighting style that I hope that they animate very well because it looks really cool. And I'm like, most people are not going to be learning anything by watching her fight. For a second, I was like, I don't remember this conversation happening, but I guess it's implied the conversation happened to lead to what happens next. But time's up. Welcome to the penalty zone. I do think this is one thing. And when I read the manga, I was like, 4 hours? There's no shot anyone would live for 4 hours in this shit. It'd be more like live for 10 minutes against these things. Just run for your life for 4 fucking hours. That's just weird. They never at all had like the nurses like freaking out about him vanishing. Dude, imagine just running 4 hours straight. I don't mean like you're running. You're sprinting for your life for 4 hours straight. It's like a weather forecast. We have a gate coming in on the horizon. We got another gate here. The activity of the gates is very, very, very slowly increasing. That was like the one glimmer of hope he had to help them. Yeah. He's like, now I can finally make money. Honestly, let's be real. With the enhanced strength that came from Awakening, he is weak in terms of hunter standards, but in terms of normal people, he is stronger than them. Go back to construction and lift like 40 or 50 of those bags and move them and get your shit done quick and try to find a way to like maybe work on commission or something. Like use your strength in normal jobs and you can definitely exceed. Like, especially on the construction site, I'd be like, yo, bro, pay me more and I would literally do like everybody's fucking lifting by myself. I love the way also how his items like interact with the world around him like that. It makes it so much cooler. Like it could just be like, boop, phantom door, but it's like, no, specifically that door frame needs to become the dungeon. Also, it's like he's in another dimension. Normal people are not affected by what he does. Yep, red gates. Those will come into play later. Was there goblins in this dungeon? In the manga? Pretty sure it was wolves. The one thing about goblins that would be really annoying is that, for one, there's usually a lot of them at a time. You're never really fighting them one-on-one. And two, they're so small and jumping around. Be like, stand still, you freaking cretin. Ooh, nice knife flip. That was pretty slick. I like that. If I can. Yeah, and no one knows where you are, and you're in another fucking dimension. Ain't nobody coming to help you. It's a coming. You gotta react. You gotta do something. Anything. No. No, come on. Oh my god, it just keeps fucking leaving me the worst possible spot for every episode, man. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that dungeon didn't start with goblins. Pretty sure it just started with wolves. And it also, this feeds into my thought of how far are we gonna get with this season? We're 3 episodes into it already. And we didn't even get halfway through this dungeon, so I'm concerned about how far we're gonna get because there is quite a bit to get to. I was hoping we would get to a specific spot, and the more episodes that pass, the less I believe we're gonna get there, so that'll probably become a season 2. And at this rate, you could almost make solo leveling into like 4 seasons, which I thought 3 was kind of just like the sweet spot. 2 might be a little short, but I don't know, maybe they're gonna take it into 4 seasons. I thought that penalty zone was very necessary. Not the time limit. The time limit was completely excessive. Like, there's no fucking way anybody is surviving 4 hours running in a... Let's think about that too. Running in a desert like running on sand is exhausting. You're pushing as hard as you can and you're not making very much progress. Let's be real. No one is surviving 4 hours in that desert in the state that he's in. So I thought that time frame was a bit excessive, but it was very necessary in the fact that it needs to get him to the point of taking the quest seriously. Like, yo, bro, this shit's real, and you are definitely not going to want to be failing these quests. At least given that conversation with Hunter Cha, we know what is going to be happening in the next episode. They're going to be doing that dungeon, most likely, this B rank raid, where she's supposed to be an instructor. So we get to see a little bit into that. I think it's funny how the nurses went looking for him, like, where did he go? But when they do find him, because in the manga what happens was, like, they just heard a sound and they went in to check on him and he was already lying on the ground. And they were like, why is there sand on the ground? So that's like how the different like dimensions he's being put in are influencing the real world. Like, it's real, the sand was real, everyone has seen it. I always feel bad for people like Hunter Lee because they always set them up to be really wholesome and sweet and care about the person, and then they kind of just fade into the background for a little bit. It's like how Hinata was the most caring for Naruto, but she was never the forefront of his like thoughts and stuff. But she and I mean Hunter Lee, like, actively decides to put herself into the background by not, she went to visit him and he was out there running. All she had to do was either go out there and say hi or just like set the basket in his room or something, but she just leaves. And I was like, what the hell? I thought it was kind of funny how on the news they have today's gate report, which is like a freaking, like a weather map telling you where the next gates will be and stuff. And looking back, that reporter has the most basic fucking shirt I've ever seen for a reporter. Come on, you got to do better than that. Final thought, I loved how it showed the side-by-side of him working out, like doing squats, and then showing him in the dungeon how they're like, damned E-rank, you're slowing us down and all this shit. And then goes back to him doing sit-ups, and he's thinking about his mom and her sickness, like really going into his motivations on why he keeps going. And when he first was gonna take that test, and he's like, oh my god, I could potentially have double awakened, I could be even stronger, awesome. Like, there's no way, I don't care how humble you are or how humble you think you are, there's no way you're sitting there at the bottom of E-rank and not wishing you could get stronger. Okay, so next episode, we've got to finish this instance dungeon with these wolves, and then we'll probably get, knowing how their pacing is, we'll get started on that B-rank dungeon with Hunter Cha. So we're looking forward to that. Get to finally see him actually start fighting, get some combat in, because he's been doing nothing but doing workouts and trying to get stronger, and we finally get to see him hone his abilities in battle, because he just becomes the most freaking wild man with a knife that you've ever seen, and we get to finally see that. I hope they keep it in this wolf dungeon as well, that he grinds this dungeon like to the extreme, where he's like, oh, I can kill a wolf now, all right, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna endlessly slaughter wolves because I just can. They just keep coming, so fuck it, we'll just keep fighting and I'll just keep killing them. So he truly grinds this dungeon to get stronger, and that's one thing I like about his character, is that he really has that grind set, really sticks to the path of getting stronger and focuses on doing it, and it's just so good for his character because he's just so driven. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed episode 3, It's Like a Game. Be sure to tune in next week for episode 4. I hope to see you guys there. I hope you have a great day. You guys are beasts.